straight out, are you worried about losing Aaron Glenn as your defensive coordinator?
I am not. And I hate to say this, but I'm wondering if Aaron Glenn is just getting those, obligatory interviews because he's black. Because he wasn't
the Rooney Rule.
The Rooney Rule. You always have to think that, because he wasn't really on most people's radar until they started this interview process, and now a couple of teams said, "Well, let's talk to Aaron Glenn."
Now, is it more so that you don't take it seriously because you believe it's not a serious interview?
I don't think it's a serious interview. I haven't heard his name associated with any teams, but now all of a sudden you start interviews, and you have to have a brother or two on there. So all of a sudden, Aaron Glenn is getting interviews. I just don't think it's that serious.
Right. So if we take this conversation about Aaron Glenn as opposed to the Ben Johnson with Carrot, you thought those were all serious.
I thought
there was a legitimate
serious
opportunity.
But
for Johnson.
I think the thing that Ben Johnson may have found out is that when he interviewed, it was probably a lot more with these teams than he was bargaining for. And maybe he didn't want to have to deal with ownership who meddled. There was probably certain aspects within those organizations he didn't want to deal with, and maybe the pay wasn't what he expected it to be. So he's like, you know what? I'll make my little statement. I want to build things in Detroit and things to be great, and I'm going to stay here. I think that played a factor. So
Terry thinks that, the seriousness, and this is just all going through the Rooney Rule and doing it because you have to do it. The other thing that I was looking at it is that, as I always looked at it, as if I had a choice of who I would retain or who would stay, I'd want Ben Johnson. But my question is, Terry, is that because I'm looking for the next Ben Johnson as my defensive coach? Like, is Aaron Glenn the right defensive coordinator for this Detroit Lions job if he doesn't take a coach elsewhere?
I think he proved that.
Okay.
First of all, he had a bad defense, and it played that way. But at some point, you have to figure that out. And whether he got with Dan Campbell, whether he got with other coaches, they figured it out. So that helps his cause there. And it leads him to believe that the Lions are not going to have the defensive struggles at the beginning of next season that they had at the beginning of this season. They may not be great, but maybe they come out the chute. Lions defense is mediocre, which you would have taken in the first 8 games of the season. It wasn't even mediocre. It was historically bad.